welcome back to Meet the Author. So glad you can join us and let us come into your home to talk about the authors in our region. This segment we have Pat Brister. Hello, Pat.
Hi.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And Pat's the author of this great book called TLC. Show it to the camera so the audience can see your book. Lift it up some. There you go. TLC, Terminate Life Cycle. There it is. So Pat, it's really an unusual title because when people think of TLC, they're not thinking of terminating life cycle. Tell us about how you came up with this title.
Well, actually, in 1998, I still lived in the Chicago area, and I was working on our house plants in our dining room. And the kids had left the TV on in the living room, and it was some kind of talk show. I wasn't really paying that much attention, and I kept hearing TLC. Tender loving care, TLC, tender loving care, and it just kept going on, and I'm trying to focus on the drawing. This stuff just won't go away. So all of a sudden I thought, what could be the polar opposite of tender loving care yet use the same three letters? And that was Terminate Life Cycle. That was supposed to be it. You know, I went back to drawing, but TLC and Terminate Life Cycle just kept going on in my head like a jingle you hear on TV or the radio. You just can't get it out of your mind. So after a couple of weeks of that, I sat down at the table and I said, okay, what kind of storyline or what could go with a title like that? And I came up with a Marine who suddenly decides to leave the military, and he joins the Secret Service, and shortly after that he gets assigned to be a prominent senator's personal bodyguard and driver. He's had threats against his life, and a yellow Hummer. I mean, initially you wouldn't think anything like that really goes together, but that's where it started. And in 1998, I didn't know a whole lot about computers. You know, they were more expensive back then. We had one in the house, but it was my wife's
those
computer
little Radio
for work.
Shack trash things. I remember those early computers.
So I thought I would try to, you know, I'd start writing it by hand, and I also took typing in high school. And
so you started writing in 1998. It's now 2018, so 20 years. When did the book come out?
The book actually came out through CreateSpace in October of 13.
Oh, 5 years ago. Yeah, good.
Getting back to 1998, it got to the point where I was throwing paper away. You know, I'd start something and it didn't work out, and I decided, you know, I'll just make notes, and I'll just let the thing develop. And then finally in 2005, it started coming together. But it still took me two years to write it. And then trying to get the book published, that was really difficult for a first-time author. And
CreateSpace. It is so hard. And I'm so grateful for what we have now with the CreateSpace efforts, since anybody can get published. You still want to make your book as good as you can, but it's a delight to have your ability to put out these really nice books. Look how beautiful that book is.
Yes, I credit the cover to Dana Russo. She's out in California. She's an independent now.
Sit up again.
And she did some excellent design work.
Yeah.
I gave her the basic parameters in which to work. Again, the main character is AJ, Thomas Andrew Jackson, who is a career Marine and later on a Secret Service agent.
So does he actually like kill people? He goes out on assignment and kill people?
Actually, reluctantly. He has regret and thoughts about having to do that. That was why he left the military.
That's what makes a good hero, isn't it? I mean, everybody, they don't want somebody who's all goody-goody or all gung-ho. You want to have this character seem real and have a lot of mixed feelings about these things.
That was one of the things that I wanted to really project is he's not a Terminator. Yeah. He actually has feelings and he has guilt that stays with him, and he does what he has to do, but it's not, there's no pleasure from it.
And you were in the military for quite a while, you told me.
No, I'm sorry. I was
police,
in law enforcement.
Police
Law enforcement,
right.
Yes. 7 years in the reserves in Illinois and 3 years in Lamar County.
And how did you make your characters? Is your character based on someone in particular?
Some of them. The main character is actually kind of elusive. I never could really peg a particular person living, pastor living, but most of the other characters were. Some of them are actually based on some good friends of mine, and it really makes for an interesting character.
Oh, it does. People have to be multifaceted, and if you base them on real characters, people you know, of course you change the name and some of the habits and places, but yeah, it really makes people seem so much more alive when they really were real people to start with.
Yes.
And it's set in D.C., you said?
Yes, for the most part it's in Washington.
Okay. And you're working on more books too, right?
Yes, since this one was released, I've started working on 2 other books. One is a sequel to carry on where this one dropped off, and another is a prequel where we learn more about the military portion of life of our main character, AJ.
Mm-hmm. How are you marketing the book?
Mostly online through Amazon. I do a little bit on Facebook. It's available in 19 countries.
Available? How did you make it available in 19 countries?
CreateSpace helped me do that.
CreateSpace does it. Just sign up with CreateSpace and say which countries you want to be available, and
Right.
they'll just sell for you. And what's the list price?
It's $19.95.
Okay, so for $20, get this really delightful book. Do you do book signings too?
Yes, I do.
And where have you done a book signing?
Well, I think the last one was on the coast. It was a couple of years ago.
And you live on the coast now?
No, I actually live just south of Hattiesburg.
In Hattiesburg. That's coastal, sort of,
Yeah.
somewhat. And you're retired now, is that right?
Yes.
And so what else are you doing besides writing?
I work a couple of days a week at a place called Little Tire Shop in Hattiesburg.
Little Tire Shop.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're doing the architecture still?
No, I gave that up a few years ago.
But you told me that story, I was telling the audience in the opening segment, that you were here during Camille and that you saw the destruction, and then you went to architect school? How did that work?
I studied architecture at University of Southern Mississippi from 1969 to 1971.
In Hattiesburg?
That's
And
correct.
that's how you ended up back there again, I guess.
Yes.
And so you got your degree?
No, I did
just
not.
studied it and learned how to do it.
No, but I kept up with designs and reading, and the internet today makes it a whole lot easier to get a lot more ideas. You can see what's out there.
Okay.
But what I was able to do is, like I said, I designed our house and our daughter's house. I actually started building them at the same time. Did never do that again. But both of our homes survived Katrina.
Okay.
Or not Katrina in 2005.
Where were the houses?
They're 60 miles north of here, near Little Black Creek Water Park.
Okay. So they survived Katrina, 60 miles. It's a pretty good distance, but were the neighbor houses damaged?
I'm sorry. We recorded wind speeds in the local area of up to 147 miles an hour.
Wow.
And 2 of the
Let's
houses.
bring back bad memories, those of us who lived through Katrina.
Yes. We lost 2 homes in the immediate area around our house. So.
Oh, but you survived, huh?
Yes.
How do you make homes so they'll survive hurricanes?
Well, there's lots of material that can do that. Galvanized steel is what ours is made from, but I also worked with a material called thermosteel, which is a combination of polystyrene and galvanized steel studs. The panels are incredibly light, but are very durable, and they have a high insulation value as well. Matter of fact, we were in the process of constructing a house in Pascagoula, I believe, when Katrina came through, and it was not complete, but all of the portions that we had built, with the exception of the 3rd level, remained intact. Some of the panels were found floating in the river out there, but
Structure was intact.
the structure was intact.
Pat,
yeah.
show your book one more time to the camera. This is TLC, Terminate Life Cycle, and it's available from CreateSpace, and it's a really exciting, intriguing book, and so we hope that some of your listeners will want to pick up on that book. Pat, we're so glad you come on our show.
Thanks for having me.